11:30. We'll go ahead and get started. Thanks for joining our April Tech Talk. We're excited to see some familiar faces as we tackle part 2 of the Microsoft Office Outlook series. Today, we're joined again by Eder Vicencio, CIO and partner at Eder Casella Technology, to share some tips on utilizing Microsoft features to keep you organized both at work and in your personal life. So if you have any questions throughout the 30-minute webinar, please just put them in the chat and we'll be sure to circle back to them at the end. And I guess with that, I'll just go ahead and turn it over to Eric so we can utilize the 29 minutes.
Good afternoon, everyone. I guess it's almost afternoon, right? Like Rachel said, this is part 2 of our Microsoft Office series. And this was really just kind of to go over some additional tools that were out there, some things that we talked about in the previous one, a previous conference. If you haven't seen it or you want to see it, I believe they're on our website. We share those with you as well. Again, I'm Eder Casella. I won't go over my bio too much. I know most of the people that generally sign up for these, so love to know you if you are new to the group and want to know more about what we do or how technology can work for you. All right, so like I said in the last Microsoft Outlook, we talked about different tips and tricks on how you can get yourself more organized in your Outlook, your calendar app, whether that's writing rules, using integrated apps, using Teams, something of that nature. A few that came up were some things that people approached us and said, hey, can you tell us more about Trello? Or can you go expand on the Outlook task or the Microsoft To-Do? And so we were like, certainly. And that brings me to a point. If you have anything you'd like me to talk about during one of these, by all means, send me a topic. I'd love to expand your knowledge by showing you some things that I already know about the applications or even teach me something. Okay, so the 3 tools that we're specifically going to be touching on today, we're going to first talk about Outlook tasks and different features within the Outlook tasks that a lot of people don't even realize are available to them. We're going to talk about the integration to Microsoft To-Do, another cool free application from Microsoft. And then Trello. Trello is not a Microsoft product, but it's noteworthy. And I also will mention that there is a version that is a Microsoft-based product if that interests you. So let's dive right in. All right. So how do you manage your tasks? Office 365 has basically a task list built right into it to help you manage these things. It's built into Outlook, and there's some integration and features that you've probably missed, even if you're already using it. So if you're familiar with Outlook, it actually sits at the bottom of your taskbar, kind of by your mail, calendar, people. The one with the box with the checkbox is actually your task, and they all show up there. I actually had to blur out all of my email content, so I apologize on that. So if you see some blurring on the screen, that's on purpose. Okay, so within the task, if you actually click on the task button, you will see your current tasks that are associated with your account. If you'd like to set up a new task, you could actually just click the task button. Or if you need to edit a current task, you can do that off to the right, okay? Once you click on the new task button, basically what you're prompted with is some things that you need to fill out. Due date. So in this scenario, I actually say, make a sweet webinar. You're in it right now. Start date. If you look at the start date on that one, a little bit of humor. I started it yesterday. Started it on the 12th. So yeah, yesterday, and it was due today. High priority. And my progress is in progress, and now it's 5% complete when I started making this test. Another important place to actually kind of get familiar is the reminders. The reminders will actually pop up whenever you want them to, right? You could set a reminder. So let's say I have a high priority task that I'm trying to finish for today, and I wanted to get prompted yesterday. you can do that within the task, and a certain time. So let's say you have a task and you want to start it at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You can actually set those, and you can actually change how your computer prompts you to notify you of that reminder. You can make it play you a special tune. You can have it Rickroll you, if you know what Rickrolling is. Any of those things, you can actually tell your computer, basically tell it exactly how you want it to notify you, and when and where and how. Okay. You can even add additional content in here where you're adding some additional notes, right? You're saying it better be fast. Everyone's expecting it to be amazing, right? So this is basically the core functionality of tasks. A lot of people are familiar with this, okay? So you're probably thinking, Eric, I thought you were going to teach me something new and exciting. Okay. Up at the top of that taskbar, that's where it gets new and exciting, okay? Because a lot of people kind of mute out the fact that there's more buttons at the top of this, of the actual task itself, okay? You can add additional details, okay? Date complete. So if you're actually working on a task, or maybe assigning tasks to other people in your group or your organization, you can actually put additional data in here to ensure that all of this is being captured. You could even use this almost like a project management piece of software, if you will. You could put mileage, billing information, any of those pieces for, let's say you have external customers. You can actually add that all onto here and it'll track it with your task. A lot of people don't use this functionality. Actually, I think I've only run into one ever that was using it, and it's actually a very cool tie-in. So if you're doing tasks for external companies, good way to keep track of them. Okay. Next button to talk about. All right. So let's say you've already made an actual task itself, right? You can actually add progress time. So I wanted to talk about progress time, kind of that same functionality that we were just discussing. That's your percent complete, right? So let's say we're adding more notes, adding more percentage complete. We're using it as like a billing type of software, something like that. You can actually send a status report. So let's say you have an external customer that you have those additional details on who you're billing it to, but you want to send them that status report. When you click on that button, all it does is it takes everything that you've done thus far with that task, and it actually plops it into just an email. So it's actually kind of a really cool way to, send the progress updates. Maybe you're a manager and you have tasks from your employees that you're trying to manage. That's another really cool way to use this, right? Let's say let's say you run a payroll department and you have individuals that work with you, and you create a task for them, and you want status updates from them every day on something like that. You could do this, and you can see the percent complete, and you can even see the status. You can even see the mileage, the billing information, and who is requested by. The information it's pretty vast in here. It's awesome. I really like it. I actually learned the progress reports. It's something that I don't see readily used, but I could see the limits being just the sky. How much you could use this really depends on your organization. I talked about this just a minute ago, assigning a task to someone else. If you click the assign task button, it actually prompts you to enter in who it's going to. So this is an individual on my team. When I clicked on the assign task, and then I plopped in his name, right? I typed in Max Prosser's name, and then I can add notes before I send it to him. It sends it to him as an email, but the task then shows up on his task list, and it also shows up in Microsoft To Do. We'll get to that. Okay, so follow-up. When's it due? A lot of people just use the standard today, the red top one there. The limits here are however you want it to be. Today, tomorrow, this week, next week, custom, no date. Any of those buttons, if you click on any of them, boom, it can actually remind you on when it's due, right? Whether that be a task or an email follow-up, okay? The cool thing here is it not only is it in the entire task, menus, it's also in your email menus. Exact same flag, and it works almost identically, okay? So you can see in this one, in my email, I had this Zoom email, and I'm like, boom, it'll remind me tomorrow. You do need to watch out for the times in which it alerts you, just because I've noticed over the many years of working with Outlook that it tends to alert me at weird times if I don't set it right. So I to ensure and tell Microsoft what time I want those notifications to come, because nobody really wants anything in the middle of the night, right? You probably have had a reminder show up at midnight and you're just like, why is my phone going off? It's because your date and time wasn't set. So midnight hit and your computer is like, oh, I need to notify him of this that's due today. If you actually go through and adjust those times, it'll actually get you in a more appropriate time, right? So it's more useful. All right, so we've talked about the task, how to build a task, the different functionality that you can use with it. Let's talk about Microsoft To Do. This is where I think you've taken the task to the next level. This is where I think most people should live when managing their tasks. This tool resides in the Microsoft Store. If you're a Windows 10 user or even a Mac user, if you're a Mac user, you get this from office.com. If you're a Windows user, you get it from the Microsoft Store. It's just an application that's running on your computer. Almost every Windows 10 workstation actually has it by default. And when you sign in with your Microsoft credentials to Microsoft To Do, it'll actually sync across all your computers. If you've got 4 or 5 computers, maybe you're like me, you have a desktop and a laptop and my mobile device and my MacBook, anywhere I sign in with those credentials in Microsoft To Do, they all sync. It's a beautiful thing. There's one hidden little thing I'll tell you guys about in a little bit here that I actually think you'll like if you're like me. It's a very specific to-do that I have set up, and it's a kind of a reminder thing. I don't want to lead on too much there. Okay, so it syncs across all these devices. It's amazing. I love it. This is a this is how you get to Microsoft To Do. If you're a Windows user, you click on the Start button and you open up the Microsoft Store and you actually just search Microsoft To Do. I've already downloaded it on my workstation, so this just says open. If you haven't downloaded it yet, all you have to do is click the download button. It'll download to your workstation, then you can hit open, okay? Once you hit open, you are given your day, okay? You may be asking yourself, what is my day? If you're like me and some of the accountants that I work with, their day is their task that they want to get completed specifically this day. So when I was taking the screenshot of this, it was April 11th. I procrastinated a little bit on this screenshot. Sorry, don't hold it against me. So as you are trying to build your day and the things that you're trying to get done, accomplish that day, your suggestions off to the right and the recently added. So suggestions, just by clicking the plus button on the very far right-hand side, you can actually add things to your day, or you can manually add tasks at the bottom, okay? If you're manually adding tasks, those actually go back to Outlook. You would see them there as well, or you could just manage them all from here. A lot of the people that integrate with Microsoft To Do, they tend to just leave this open, right? Because it becomes the checkbox, the gratitude of actually checking things off your list as you're building your day, okay? So if you're adding a new task, you click this plus button and you start to define what you're trying to do. Let's say I was trying to finish billing on this day, okay? You can actually set up all of your reminders when it's due. If you want it to repeat, so if you're a person that you have like a daily task that you want it to set all those up, you can add notes, you can add additional files to these different day tasks that you're trying to accomplish. Okay. Your important tasks, these are things that are kind of your high priority. My priorities for today, my important tasks: showing off cool things, being nice, being humble, being awesome. I think awesome should have been above being humble. But anyway, if you notice, each one of these tasks, these are simple tasks, except for be awesome, right? It actually has 3 tasks embedded in it. Okay. And we're going to talk about how do you do that. So first, we're going to talk about how to add these to your day. So these are your important tasks, right? If you click on them and you see on the right-hand side, there's a button there to add it to your day. It just adds it to the My Day tab, right? So if you just want that to show up on your My Day, which is kind of like your home screen, you can do that pretty simply, right? If you click it and realize you don't want to do it today, you just unselect that same button and it removes itself. Okay, this is an example of how it shows up. Okay, and you can see it shows up green. If you're color deficient, you can actually make this any color you want. So maybe it's a color that you can identify. Pretty simple to change the colors on these. You also notice on the important list, it actually says My Day now. I kind of did the little circle, I circled that portion of it. So you can see that it's been added to your day. Okay. Okay, completing your task with multiple steps, being awesome, right? So let's say you're clicking things off your list on My Day, and you actually select this task itself. You highlight it. Off to the right-hand side, you can see those additional steps. So being awesome, in this specific scenario, I say, thanking my mom, thanking my wife, and I haven't yet thanked my father. So, you know, you can have these tasks set up with different steps inside of them. So maybe you have a multi-step process that you do daily. This is something that you can actually break out there to help remind you of every single step that's needed. Okay. So once they're all completed on My Day, they go to the bottom portion of that. Finished billing is the only thing that I had left to complete today. Showing off my cool things, being nice, being humble, being awesome. Those all show up under my completed. All right, so if you start using Microsoft To Do, there's actually this Getting Started tab, and it'll show you a few kind of really cool tools that I think anybody that starts using it should actually look at these. Okay, it shows you how to tap all the circles to complete your task. Checking out the sample grocery list. It's one of them I'm actually going to talk about here. Adding hashtags to the task title to categorize it. Okay. Breaking tasks into smaller steps. Another, I showed you that one just a second ago. And adding tasks. So I definitely recommend going through the Getting Started or the tutorial with Microsoft To Do, because I think it's going to help you kind of just jump in with both feet. Okay. All right. This one that a lot of people don't think about using. I have my cell phone on me at all times. I would guess that the majority of you also have your cell phone on you at all times. Tell me I'm wrong. Start making your grocery list. Sounds crazy, right? And start adding the things that you need in there. Because if you think about it, if you're at the office and you're like, oh man, we're out of cheese. Sounds crazy, right? You add it to your to-do, and at the top, you can actually invite somebody to share your list with you. So your spouse, your kids. It actually is kind of a cool way to track what you need, right? And then if somebody buys it, you just check it off. Maybe you divide and conquer when you go shopping, and one person goes to one store, and one person goes to Meijer, one person goes to Woodman's. Guess what? You can all both work from the same list. Projects to complete. You can add custom categories and share these. Okay, so let's say you're working in a team, and you want the defined categories don't work for your team, right? My day, important, planned, any of those don't necessarily work. You could make projects. Let's say you're a construction company and you have multiple individuals that work with your team, right? And you've got some things, very specific tasks that you need them to fulfill. You can actually create these tasks within your Microsoft To Do and assign them to them. Okay, you click on the button at the top, or you click on the button to the right, and it actually says assign to. So let's say you have a sales guy that's really hard to track down, but you need him to do these 5 things while he's out in the field. You could do that, and as long as he has that fancy cell phone, guess what? He can let you know when he's done. All right, so that is Microsoft To Do. Integrates awesomely with tasks. I can't say enough about it. If you haven't started using it, I would try. Just try. Download it. You're probably going to fall in love with it. For that, I'm not sorry, or I am. But I think it's one of those life-changing apps that you can use. Okay, let's talk about Trello. Trello can be used for free. Trello is a Kanban style list making application. Kanban style is programmers were really big into Kanban. Basically, you put things into like organizable lists that can move throughout the life cycle. Don't let that scare you. Trello there is a Microsoft version of Trello called Planner. I don't know anybody that's actually using Planner, but you'll get kind of the gist of what a Kanban style application is when I show you kind of the use case of it. I actually personally like using Trello because it integrates into basically everything. Actually, it even includes Microsoft. It actually, and I'll get into that, you can actually send things to Trello from most of your Microsoft applications. This is when you sign up for an account, free account, like I said, you can pay for Trello. It gives you more features. For 90% of the population, I don't think it's necessary. If you do heavy programming, sure, pay for it. Your entire team can be in Trello, and you can actually have everybody subscribe to the same Trello board. In this scenario, I'm just going to show you an example of a template of like a project management board. All right, so it might seem a little busy, but basically each channel, each lane, think of it like a list. So project resources is the first one on the left. Questions for the next meeting, the to-dos, pending, blocked, done, right? So a simpler version of this is, you could say, project queue, so things that need to get done, currently being worked on, closed, in problems, right? So problems, so let's say you have somebody that's managing projects for you and they need to get in front of some problems that you may be having with that project. You can actually move each individual item over to, let's say, the problem list. So that way they can actually help assist with that, or your backlog of tasks. Somebody could be looking at the backlog and seeing where they can jump in and help. Okay. There's tons of cool videos out there on how to use Trello, how to use a Kanban style board. I would highly suggest, if this is something that's maybe interesting you, do a little bit of investigation, see if it actually works. But I also wanted to show you kind of, I love this aspect, using it not just for work, use it in your work or your day in and day out life. So this was an example of a shared list. So this was each day, things to do, maybe things to do at your house, what you're having for dinner, and then what do you need to do after work. Okay, break it down by Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Just kind of a neat little way to break it up. Maybe your kids have chores. You could actually have a Trello board for the chores to get done. So think outside the box. These tools are free. Why not use them, right? And adding emails to your Trello board, super simple. That integration's there. It's actually just a button on the email right at the top. You basically highlight the email. You click on the add email to Trello board. If your account's signed in, it's actually just going to send it directly to it. It's kind of a cool piece of integration. All right, here's one that I didn't tell you was going to be on here. So surprise, bonus, Microsoft Viva and My Analytics. So you've probably seen, if you use Office 365, you probably have gotten these Microsoft Viva emails. You're like, what is this? Why am I receiving it? Well, Viva is just a built-in tool, and it tries to help make you more organized. It tries to help you, it empowers you to do different things with your day, right? So it tries to tell you that you're busy during this time, you're distracted during this time. It's amazing. If you start like looking into your analytics, you're going to find out things about yourself that you didn't know. How your workflow actually works, how distracted you are, how much of a workaholic you are, because it tells you even when you're working on off hours. Okay. If you click on the Viva button, which Viva Insights is where you actually would get to that, and you want to just look at your dashboard, you would click on the dashboard, or you want to look at just what they've already predefined. Some suggestions that it has for you. Delay email delivery in this example, set focus time. This is something that coming from the healthcare space, we actually did. Focus time is your time. We called it the no-fly zone in the healthcare arena. No-fly zone is something where you book your time where people aren't supposed to interrupt you because they see that you're busy. It might not necessarily work in your environment. People probably just walk up and they're like, hey, I need your help on this right now. But if somebody's trying to schedule something with you, this is where it comes in handy, okay? Or setting time to prepare for your meetings. That's a huge one. All right, so if you actually click on the dashboard, you have tons of information that's available on your dashboard. I would highly suggest that you watch the video and launch the tour. This will kind of give you some ideas and insight into what My Analytics can do for you, and along with the Viva Insights. And I believe if we have any questions, now would be the time.
Thanks, Eric. We did have a couple things come through. Back on Microsoft To Do, Ryan just missed where to find the My Day feature.
The My Day feature, it should be the top, like the top button that basically shows up. So sorry if you're watching this really closely. All right, so kind of going back to this slide, this specific slide, the My Day, if you can see, it's actually the top right underneath the search bar. If you click on that, it's also the default view when you come into when you actually come into the Microsoft To Do. Any other questions?
Okay, and then also, so Nikki has a couple, she already downloaded To Do, so she's excited to start using that. And then just added, as we do not use Outlook for email, is using To Do still effective to use for managing the rest of your world? Oh,
that's a good one. Nikki, in your very specific scenario, using the G Suite, totally will still work. It just, you can use this as a standalone feature. It's not going to hurt anything at all.
And then there was just one other that's actually similar to that. Is can you use the Microsoft to-do list? Can you share them with any other emails or domains, like outside of your network?
You should be able to, as long as you didn't turn on any restrictive. There's ways to restrict it, and your IT provider should be able to tell you whether or not that's restricted, but it wouldn't matter. In most scenarios, it wouldn't matter. How about that?
Okay. That looks like all of the questions that came in. Our next Tech Talk will be on the second Wednesday, so May 11th at the same time, 11:30. And after this, I will be sending out the video for you to rewatch, share with anybody, and I'll also include part one in case you weren't able to join us. All right, well, have a good day, everyone.